Hey everybody, this is World War Guy here today, and I'm doing a video on comparison of Adrian helmets. Right here you can see three different types of Adrian helmets, and before I start, let me tell you there were a lot of different kind of Adrian helmets, mostly because of country, so the badges were different. But these were the three main shell types of Adrian helmets. There was one created by the Italians, but sadly I do not have one of those, so for this video, please forgive me, but I can't show it to you. But I'll just kind of go over the helmets, starting with World War I, going to World War II, and then just kind of explain the differences, the similarities, what was improved on, and so on. So let's get right into it. Now, in 1914, when the European powers went to war, they went to war with soft caps, just some wool caps that you throw on. The Germans had a leather helmet, the Pickelhaube. Probably butchered that, apologize. And then sometime 1915, of course from the beginning of the war they realized they're going to need something else. But by 1915 the French had come up with their version of a helmet, which would become the first steel helmet. And this would be the French Adrian helmet, actually designed by Mr. something Adrian. And it would look like this. Now the French one would have been painted a horizon blue color, but it'd be the exact same shape as this. On the badge, here we have a line which indicates that it's a Belgian Adrian helmet. But the French, they would have different badges. If it was just regular infantry, it'd be a flaming bomb with RF in the middle, which would mean République Française. Artillery would have two cannons crossing each other. Engineers would be like a Napoleonic style, like armored plate with helmet. Colonial, I believe, was just an anchor, and so on. You guys get the idea. And of course it was painted horizon blue. The liner would be very similar to this, possibly a different color, but it would be a 6 or I believe even 5 tongue liner. And then on the sides here you'd have these wavy type of pieces of metal, very flimsy, and I've heard that it was kind of to absorb the shock for whenever a soldier got hit in the head by a shrapnel or whatever. It kind of helps absorb the shock and less chances for the soldier to get a concussion. That's what I've heard. And then you'd have really small bales here, which would of course hold the chin strap. And this is what the chin strap would look like, just a simple friction buckle, however you want to call it. You run your chin strap through that, tighten it. For the sake of this helmet, I put it on the top here so that it wouldn't get in the way, less chance of it ripping when I move it around. Some soldiers, French soldiers, you could see them wearing the chin strap up top. Other times you'd see them under the chin where it was supposed to be. The first Adrian helmets, such as this one, were very light and not very resistant compared to the German Stahlhelm and the British Brodie helmet. They were either built of 3 to 4 separate pieces. So the first one would be the dome right here. Then you'd have the, oh my god, I forgot, but the top part. And then you would either have, this would be where it's 3 or 4, the brim, which would either be one piece or 2 pieces attached together. This one appears to be just one piece, so this would be a 3-part helmet. The reason for a cone, there we go, a cone on the top, of what I've read, is for saber defense. So if someone hits you on the head with the saber, it would hopefully deflect the saber, stopping it from being a direct hit on the top of your head. And many countries adopted this helmet. The Belgians, such as this one. The Italians had their own version, and basically it was just 2 pieces, the dome and the comb, the dome with the visor, and the cone, that'd be the separate pieces. And then either they would have something painted on the front or a certain badge. Of course it'd be their own color. That's the Adrian helmet I do not have. I believe Serbia had some. Russia adopted the Adrian helmet. and more countries. I just can't think of all of them right now. So that was the beginning of the Adrian helmet, which arrived about 1915. Next off, after World War I has ended, the French, sometime in 1926, updated and perfectioned the Adrian helmet. And here we can see it is the Adrian M26 helmet. This one would be a two-part or two-piece shell. So you would have the dome with the brim, and then the cone would be a separate piece. So it'd be easier to produce, less pieces having to be attached to it. On the front, you'd still have the flaming bomb. For this one is infantry, like I said, flaming bomb with RF on it. Then, of course, artillery, engineers, medical, colonial, and so on. The only difference would be it'd look a bit different. That's about it. It'd be this brownish color instead of a horizon blue. And then when you look on the inside, the liner is pretty different. This is a reproduction liner that came with the helmet. But basically it's the same look of it. You have 6-tongue liner, but you do not have any absorbing sheets of metal there. And the way the liner attaches is actually very simple. There's 4 of these hooks or tongues or whatever you want to call them on every side of the helmet. And then you just simply hook your liner from these little hooks here. You would hook them on the attachments. So let's say your liner were to rip during combat, you could easily just replace the liner instead of replacing the entire helmet. Because if you look here, the helmets were, there are these prongs inside here under the sheet metal that would stick out on the sides, and basically you'd have to slip the liner in through there, and it's a lot more complicated. Here we can see a bit of it right next to my finger there. So it's a lot more difficult to replace the liner. It'd be easier to just get a whole new helmet. So this saves on cost. You know, you don't need to waste as much metal and time. Just get a new liner and you're good. And the chin strap here is also a reproduction, and hoping that it is correct, the chin strap here is thicker and appears to be more durable. The buckle would be kind of a friction buckle, but then you have a little roller to make it easier to roll around. And then the bails are a bit bigger, more squared instead of a rounded rectangle. Put that back up. Now when World War II came around, not enough of these have been produced for the French military, so a lot of them were issued M15 helmets from World War I, just painted a different color. So when you look at original photographs, it's not surprising to see many reserve units or new units being created, with M15 helmets. Those with M26s would most likely be those that already have been in service before the war started. Alright, and then now we have a different style of helmet. This is the Belgian M26/31 Adrian helmet. Now this one is painted black because it's for the gendarmerie, so like a local police. On the front you have the line badge again, which is very typical for Belgium, but as you can see the line is more defined and a different looking face. Again, this is a two-piece helmet, so you have the dome with the brim, and then the cone is attached onward. Inside is the exact same style as the French one, so here are the attachments you'd put the liner. And then these helmets were made in different sizes. So if you had a big head, you'd have a bigger helmet. You have a small head, smaller helmet. So it's not like the American ones. And then here are the bails. Exactly the same, just squared, big squares. As you can see here, there's some writing inside. Could be a name, we'll never know. Now the reason why I show you this is because it is a bit of a different shape. Now if we go back on the World War I kind, you can see that the sides are very angled downward. And then we go to World War II French, and they've raised it a bit more, so it's not straight down, it's a bit at an angle now. And then the Belgian one is very flat compared. You can see it really sticks out compared to the other ones. Here's a side view of it. The reason for that, I don't know. In my personal opinion, maybe this design or this design would be better because it goes over your ears a little bit more. So I don't really know what was the reason behind that. But those are my 3 different types of Adrian helmets. Like I said, there were 4 different constructions, and then many more different kinds if you consider the paint and the badges that would be on the front. I hope you guys found this video informative. Oh, actually, before I finish, because I got caught up. So like I said, this was a black helmet for gendarmerie. The Belgians would be basically the same color as this, the French one. It'd be a brown color, and then they had the same style of liner, maybe a different color liner, but it'd be the same style. Attach it there, same chin strap. Okay, so now that I got everything out of the way, I hope you guys found this video informative. I knew when I first got this helmet, I wasn't even sure if it was World War I, World War II style. So I hope you guys found this informative. You learned quite a bit at least. If you did, leave a like or leave a comment saying that you did. If you guys want to correct me on anything or add some details so other people can see it, please do. I don't mind. And if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Make sure to hit that subscribe button. But besides that, most of all, you guys have a great day.